Ring the bell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Society, and welcome to our review show here of TNA Slammiversary 2024 from July 20th at the Verdun Auditorium in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I'm your host, Karlifornia, and making his debut here on Slam Reviews, it is the newest member of the Slam Society. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ZTP. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, you know me. Oh, it feels really comfy in here. I like this this outline that's around me, and yeah, I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah, you got a nice little background there. This is I'm digging it, bro. I'm digging it. And we got Slammiversary 2024 to talk about here, bro. But before we get into it, though, ZTP, I want to ask you, your personal experience and journey as a fan of TNA wrestling. When did you become a fan of TNA, and how long have you been watching them for?
So I started watching TNA wrestling around 2011, but I wasn't watching like the weeklies. I was actually watching it from a friend who had burnt CDs from like his auntie. So it was very illegal of how I was watching TNA, but I was watching like the 2009 pay-per-views of TNA. And
Right.
yeah, I loved watching AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Abyss.
Yeah.
And I just loved everything from there ever since.
Right. I mean, that was probably a good time to start watching 2009. I was quite into the product at that point. But it's been several years since then now. And we're celebrating the 21st anniversary of TNA wrestling.
God damn.
You watched the pre-show, the countdown, didn't you, Zenith?
I did. Yes, I did watch the countdown to the show.
Cool, because I'm going to need your help with a bit of this, because I was a little bit out of it by the time I started watching this. But the first match was the four-way women's match, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was Tasha Steelz versus Fabi Apache from AAA versus Giselle Shaw versus Zaya Brookside.
That's right. Okay, I found my notes for that match in a different notepad.
Yeah.
I was wondering where the fuck that went. Yes, so, okay. Straight up, bro, let us know what you thought of the opening contest here.
I actually thought it was a decent opener for the whole entire event, actually. Like, I was going into this, I'm like, I don't know who Fabi Apache is. I've only seen Tasha Steelz when she was teaming with Kiera Hogan.
Yep.
Only time I ever seen Zaya Brookside is when she had pink and blue hair in like NXT UK.
Okay.
And Giselle Shaw I wasn't really familiar with, except for my first time watching it at Hard to Kill earlier this year.
Right.
So it was very nice to see that the Knockouts division in TNA is still thriving to this day, and that they can show off still like their moves, their athleticism, not just, well, still being sexy as well. And yeah, I was like quite impressed. I thought it was like going to be like a good start for the night, and they absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, no, good start. Although, okay, so if you're not as familiar with some of these ladies, Giselle Shaw as a baby face, I mean, I don't watch the weekly product, so things change from month to month in TNA, and I don't notice or know these things until it's on the pay-per-view or on the countdown. It just didn't seem right that Giselle Shaw was a babyface. She has been the quintessential diva for so long, and seeing her coming out and high-fiving people, that did not work for me, brother. But we had obviously my favorite referee, Paige Prince-Valley, control proceedings here. And of course, Zaya Brookside was in this match as well. So that's, always going to, put me in a good mood. Again, yes, to echo your sentiments, ZTP, I thought this was a very good opener. Just wasn't too chuffed with Giselle Shaw kneeing my sweetheart in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And that wasn't referee Paige Prince-Valley. It's my other sweetheart, Zaya Brookside. But then Tasha steals the win. Very nice.
Indeed.
Good for her. Okay, I don't know if you saw this interview backstage here, man, but Gia Miller with AJ Francis and Rich Swann. I felt like I couldn't hear AJ very well. I didn't know what the hell he was going on about it. I've rewound it a few times and I just felt like this was hard to follow. I know he introduced Josh Bishop and some other guy, and I had no idea what was going on. Could you pick up on any of that for me at all?
No, so unfortunately, I have written down here that there has been a lot of technical issues throughout this whole program. There's been audio issues. There was also some video issues with this whole event. So it seems like TNA might need to still step up some production.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't just me. I thought like I was having a stroke or something. Like I
Nah,
was
nah.
like, why can't I understand what he's saying? Why can't I hear him properly? Okay, that's fine. We can move forward. And so what was the next matchup? Why have I not got it written down? Kushida is he's supposed to be against Jonathan Gresham, right?
That is correct. But unfortunately, Jonathan Gresham was replaced due to being violently ill. So replacing
Oh.
him is Rich Swan from First Class.
That's right. It was Rich Swan. My bad. So I didn't watch this match. I just wrote down ZTP. Tell us about the match, please.
um, yeah. Look. So first, I'm going to start off with Kushida coming down as a tribute to Jinsei Shinzaki, aka Hakushi, with all the kanji written down all over him.
Hmm.
I when I was going to this, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be like high flying, high pace, high octane. It kind of felt like a 205 live or like a raw third hour cruiserweight match to me. I was kind of a bit let down, but I was also like, oh yeah, I guess this is what you can do on like on a countdown pre-show, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. I just sometimes when I get to these countdown shows, I get ants in my pants. I just want to get to the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, I wasn't too interested. I just completely skipped the match. But anyway, next up was Um, Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards defending the Knockouts tag team titles. I'm liking their name, the Militia. Very
The
clever.
militia. Oh
What did
my
you think of the tag
gosh.
title match, bro?
Firstly, can I say, fuck, I hate the system, man. Oh my god, bro. Okay. I love Marsha Slamovich. I love Danny Luna. This is my first time like seeing like Danny Luna properly coming out, other than just being herself or a manager to Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews.
Hmm.
Jody Threat I've seen live. Well, actually, we watched Jody Threat live together,
We did.
Karlifornia,
That's right. Yes, over
and
east.
just Alicia Edwards, man. Fuck, she's so annoying, bro. I just can't stand her.
Yeah, wow, is
Oh,
she working you, brother? She's working
I
you into
think
a
she is.
shoot.
They're working me so badly, man.
She's
Like,
really
oh,
good at it. Hey, I've always said Alicia Edwards is really good at being 100% unlikable.
absolutely. Like, she's doing it well.
Well, you know what? Like, I feel like the TNA Knockouts tag division, and I've talked about this before, but I feel like the tag division, it always has a hard time gaining momentum because it feels like they don't have a division. They just
Hmm.
happen to have maybe two tag teams going at one time, and then another one will form. They'll win the tag titles, and then they'll have a short run, and then they'll be feuding with the one other tag team. I don't know. I just feel like it's good that they have them, but they need a few more teams, I think, to make it a bit more competitive. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. Like, it's always a struggle when, especially like obviously you want like more equality in wrestling. Like you want to have like the women to have the exact same types of belts as the men do.
Hmm.
But with that, you need to have enough talent to be able to do so with it. It's like why most companies don't even have like a mid card title for a women's division because they don't have enough people to run it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree, and I think it's always again, that's something I've always whinged about is in most companies the first championship a woman can win it's usually just a world title, like straight up. There's no levels, there's nothing to like um achieve along the way to getting to the world championship. So I think a mid card type title or even a tag title is quite important for any pro wrestling company. For the women, anyway, let's move forward again. Eric Young is taking on Alexander Hammerstone here, or Alex Hammerstone. Thoughts on Hammerstone versus Eric Young, ZTP?
So this was a surprise matchup as it was from the director of authority, Santina Morella,
Hmm.
coming out and speaking French as well for the Montreal natives.
Yep.
Look, man, I think Eric Young's past his prime at this point. I'm going into it, I was like, oh yeah, like Eric Young, sanity, like he's definitely not as what he used to be. Like when I was like first watching TNA, when he was like heel world elite Eric Young, or like the Psycho like 2016 era Eric Young. He's more like trying to get the crowd more hype now. He's like a hype man, which is weird to say. Like as soon as I look at Eric Young, he definitely doesn't look like it. He looks like 50, but he's like mid 40s or like early 40s, something like that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Hammerstone, I quite enjoyed him in MLW,
Mm.
but I don't. Something was just missing with this matchup. Like something wasn't clicking right. Something just like it was like two people just trying to slam each other like viciously, but they just won't mesh correctly. Like just something
Yeah.
wasn't right. And then with the roll up finish too, it just wasn't really tasteful in my opinion, especially with Hammerstone coming back, like he's just
Oh,
returning, and then he just loses via roll up.
bro, I was like, come on. Like I like Eric Young. He is 44 years old. Um, he's, look, I'm not usually one to say things like this, but you're right. I think he is past his prime. But still, like past his prime, Eric Young is still pretty good. But it's, I think out with the old, in with the new here. I think Hammerstone has got more. I mean, it's just a bump in the road for him, I'm sure, but he's just come back. I don't know if it was good for him to cop this loss here. I was quite annoyed by it because I think Hammerstone has a lot of upside and they can really do something with him. But if you want to keep him being a threat, then he needs to get wins and wins on prominent shows. Um, and I know he's probably going to be facing Eric this week on Impact, but
They are having a mixed tag team match, I believe.
that's right. With I can't remember.
I don't remember either, unfortunately. I
Oh,
believe
Ash by
she's
Elegance.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go,
And
against Jordan and
Jordan.
Eric.
Okay, very good. Um we haven't even got to the main show yet, have we?
No, no, this is now up to the main show.
Okay, so it was the opening matchup for Slammiversary 2024. I can't believe how disorganized my notes are here. It was Matt Hardy taking on Dango, right?
Yes, against Johnny Dango Curtis.
Wow, I wrote no like notes for this. All I wrote was that he hit a twist of fate off the turnbuckle and then laid him out twice afterward. But from my memory, it wasn't too bad of a match. But again, I kind of feel like these guys like Dango in TNA, anytime I see them, I never see them pick up a big win or see them in a position where it seems like they're I guess moving up the echelon. They always seem to um, lose these types of matches. But Matt Hardy probably did need a win here as well. That being said, but ZTP, any further thoughts on Matt Hardy and what's it, JDC?
JDC, yeah.
Okay.
So you see like a lot throughout this event. A lot. It was specifically with the system. They like to patronize against the Canadians. They like wear American gear.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite funny. I quite enjoyed that. Dango, Alicia, Eddie, Brian, and Moose all wore American gear in
Mm.
Canada.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought this was just a match. I didn't feel like this was like a boom. This is a bang on start for a pay per view event caliber like
Yeah.
Slammiversary. This is like TNA's equivalent of SummerSlam. Like
Yeah.
this should be like kicking off strong, but we've got broken knees Matt Hardy against Johnny Dango Curtis without Oleg Putin, without Alpha Bravo, like everything that made like Dango that more hateable for me is like just gone,
Yeah.
and now he's just like another guy on the roster that's just facing people.
Yeah. It feels like he's just kind of there. But I don't know what happened to Oleg and Alpha. They just dropped him from the act, and now is he with the system?
Yeah, I think it's just like 100% with the system now. Like, I'm not too sure on this one. You can't quote me on this one because I don't watch the weeklies until
Right.
now. Because
Okay.
after watching this event, I'm like, all right, I got to start watching the weeklies. I got to see like what's going on here, especially
Right.
with some of these wacky storylines. But we get into them later on, though.
Yep. You know what? Maybe he's like loosely affiliated at this stage.
Yeah,
Um,
he's kind of like the Sami Zayn of the like the bloodline type of thing.
yeah. And but as this pay-per-view moves along, we find out that perhaps CTP, the system has failed.
Mm.
I'm so sick of hearing it. Trust the system. All right, we get it. Your name's the system. Okay, anyway, TNA World Tag Team titles on the line next. A match that I'm very, very disinterested in. The ABC challenging the
The system.
system. What did you think, bro?
So around this point, I started having technical difficulties again whilst watching this matchup. So as much as I could watch it, I thought it was a good tag team matchup. Like I, unlike you, Karlifornia, I actually love ABC. I love
Ugh,
Ace Austin and Chris Bay. I
ugh.
love the athleticism of this team. Sure, the Bullet Club part is a bit dead at this point. Like, which side of Bullet Club are they even on? Like, are they on House of Torture? Are they with Bullet Club Gold? Are they with the War Dogs? It doesn't even fucking matter at this point. There's so many subcategories with it. It's just,
Ugh.
oh, it's tricky because also fuck the system, man. I hate this system, bro. I like Brian Myers. I thought he was pretty actually good this matchup, but fuck, man, I hate with a burning passion ever since he changed with the dreads, or not the dreads, like the twists, and he
Yeah.
had like the 3/4 stretch jeans, the
Oh,
Boston. Eddie Edwards could suck my left nut, bro. Like, oh my god, he's just drains me, bro.
well,
Oh, but
know.
I'm glad he's back in the tights at least for now, because they were wearing the American gear, as I said
Yeah.
earlier. But yeah, this matchup was quite fine. Like I like the tag team news. Oh, speaking of gear, the ABC was wearing the Hart Foundation gear, or like Bret Hart inspired gear, the pink
Hmm.
and black.
Yeah, very
Uh,
nice.
if I have anything here, they actually hit the Hart attack in this one as
They
well.
did. That's a little homage. Homage.
Yeah, and then
Um,
around the end, I missed the finish because technical difficulties on
oh
Triller
shit.
TV.
Fucking just great. But I wish that happened to me because unfortunately the ABC have become the new tag team champions.
Indeed, they did.
It's like fuck, like how many times are we going to be doing this? But okay, that's fine. The system had a nice little run, very good.
It was
I
too long.
just yeah,
It
I
was too
just
long.
I'm just not big on the ABC pros. It's nothing against them. Like, well, clearly it is something against them, but like I've just, whatever.
You think it's kind of like run its course for you?
A little bit. Like I want to see them do something else. I'd like to see some fresh teams in there. There's other teams, but anyway, let's move forward. Uh,
Yes.
Mike Santana taking on Jake something. My notes are so shit for this one. Um, I think they had a pretty good match. It was pretty late at night when I watched this one, so um, if I've got shit notes and I've got nothing to remind me of what happened, I just think at one stage did Jake get German suplexed off the top rope?
Yes. Yes, he
Okay,
did.
okay, I remember one thing. But I'm pretty sure this was a good match. Anyway, sorry everyone out there who's waiting for my expert analysis. Mike Satana got the win with the spin the block. Have you got anything actually important and interesting to say here, CTP?
So I'll try and talk something. So I haven't really watched Mike Santana other than the time where he's in LAX or Pride and Powerful. So seeing him in singles action has really opened my eyes of what he can do as a wrestler. So and against someone like Jake something, where I'm like, this guy has something, but well, he literally is something because it's in his name, but it's he's got the height, he's got the weight, he's jacked to the
Mm,
gills, brother.
yeah.
But he's just trying to like climb his way up. Like I feel like he's not like suited for the X division, but he's not ready for like the world title hunt just yet.
Mm,
But with Mike Santana, he's kind of has like that Jey Uso on him. Like
yeah.
he's got like a crowd favorite. He's like red hot. He's going after like no one contenderships. And these two just going at it. I was impressed with what they did with the amount of time that they were given, and especially with I'm assuming this will be like the first time they're facing each other. It felt like there was like not as much chemistry, but at some points they were like, okay, now we got something. Now let's keep the ball rolling, type of thing. Other than that, after with the spin the block, Jake something kicks out at 3.1, which I thought was quite funny.
Right. Okay. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But it looks like they're really going with Mike Santana here. He's got a win over Steve Macklin on pay-per-view. Now he's beaten Jake something. But to kind of, follow up on what you said, like I feel like Jake has so much potential to be like a bigger deal, but there's just something missing. There's an element from his arsenal that's missing, and it's nothing to do with in the ring. I think maybe it's a promo thing or being able to, get on the microphone and cut passionate promos. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him for that and with that. And another thing, I guess, is I said it the other day when we did the simulation. I don't like his name. I don't think the name Jake something is going to help in the future.
I
He's
quite
not.
enjoy it. I think it's unique.
Well, that's fine. That's fine if that's what you think, bro. We're all entitled to our opinions.
Exactly.
But for me, not so much. But let's you know what? Let's fucking move forward, bro. Okay. The NQCC, the No Quarter Catch crew, my boys from NXT taking on the Rascals. Um, what do you think, bro? What do you think?
I quite like the Buzz Lightyear tribute gear from the Rascals here. I was watching this with my mates, and one of them was saying, "Why does the hoods look like condoms?" So they were a bit kind of ruined the moment for me for a bit there, but I quite like NXT. So going into this matchup, I was quite excited to see no quarter catch crew in this matchup without Damon Kemp at least this time. So a big thumbs up for that one.
Oh, really? Not a fan of Damon Kemp?
Not really, no. No, I feel like he was always going to be in the shadow of his brother. So,
Right.
and even then, they both still couldn't do jack shit.
Well, I think Damon Kemp actually did a lot better than his
Oh well,
Olympic gold
in the
medalist
end,
brother.
yes.
The
But
fuck, man. Whatever happened to him? Shit.
yeesh. Yeah. But yeah, but replacing it would be Tavion Heights, which is just recently become a new member of the No Quarter Catch crew,
Yeah.
which really shocked me of how good this young talent guy is. Like sure he has like that Olympic background, he has the amateur wrestling with him, but if I remember
Mm,
correctly, like Tavion came in with the like the classes of like Obafemi and like Lexus King and all
yeah.
of them guys. So like he could have been like shadowed down, but all of a sudden, like I'm seeing this guy who's like, damn, like that's like that could be like a future NXT champion right there.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing Tavion like wrestling on NXT Level Up so long ago, and I haven't done anything with him over the last year or so. So I think it's good that he's been put in the group. Um, and by this point though, I want this to be the group. Like, no more
Yes,
new members. You know, this is the group. Charlie Dempsey's the leader. No more members. Like, it's that I feel like they've had too many changes so far. Um, but
agree on that one. Charlie Dempsey is definitely I'm a big fan favorite of Charlie Dempsey.
yep,
And then with the Rascals, I'm just glad they're back together. I'm glad they were doing like the treehouse segments on this part, the TNA, the
yep,
weekly, and just being back to being Stone Kids.
right, yeah,
But other than that, yeah, they just showed off all the moves. It was like a normal Rascals match. I was like, oh, lovely to see. And then mix it in with the grappling styles of the no quarter catch crew. I felt like they flowed really nicely. I thought this matchup was pretty sick.
yeah. I thought it was just Well, you see things like this, it's weird. It feels weird to see people from NXT on TNA. Like what? It just
Absolutely.
because for years you never thought that anything like this would happen. Because fuckhead never wanted to work with anyone else. But it's I think it's really good for both companies that they're doing this. The Rascals got the win here. Did you agree
Yes.
with that decision there, bro?
I feel like it had to because No Quarter Catch Crew did get the victory over the Rascals and Kushida on the past weekly.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, so it felt like it was like, oh, they get the win on this one, so they get the win on the pay per view. And
Right.
with that, they're trying to continue the momentum of trying to get Wesley to not try and like retire in NXT, so you try and get more pep in his step.
Yeah.
So it just, I feel like with this TNA NXT relationship, it is a lot better than what they had with AEW. I feel like they're
Mhm.
both getting a win in both their columns. Like I feel like with AEW, the only thing they had like a good thing going was when Kenny was champion. But other than that, they didn't really give away talent except for like the Good Brothers showing up in AEW from time to
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And like the people had like so many dream matches for them. But at least with like NXT and TNA, sure, they're giving away the rookies to like go show up like Tatum Paxley or I forgot what her name is, but it's
Oh,
the girl who
Izzy
was with
Dame.
Izzy Dane. I knew it was started with an I, but I was definitely not Ivy Nile. So yeah, Izzy Dane. But even if they are sending like the rookies, they're trying to give them like more experience, like outside of
Yeah.
just NXT. They're trying to get like more TV time, more screening, more experience with them.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of TNA fans that don't watch NXT and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And I get annoyed when I see people make comments like, "Oh my god, like you think that the NXT TNA relationship's better than AEW? Like they got Kenny Omega. Like what do they get? Tatum Paxley? Who? Like fuck you. Go watch the fucking show and then you'll know. Then you'll know who she is. I need people out there to understand NXT get more eyeballs than TNA do on their weekly show. So, like, even though from their point of view, these are nobodies, like, in the eyes of many more people that actually watch it, they know more about Tatum Paxley than they might know about Jordan Grace. Just being honest. I'm not saying like the diehard wrestling fans know more about Tatum than Jordan. Maybe that's a different way. Maybe that's the other way around, but people need to actually understand like TNA like get like half the ratings NXT do. And it's not their fault. It's just they're on a channel over there that um doesn't get them that many homes. Anyway, let's move forward to what I thought was match of the show here. PCO taking on AJ Francis for what was it, the Canadian International Heavyweight title and the Digital Media Championship. This was sick, dude. What did you think of this matchup?
Thank fuck they changed the stipulation from a normal matchup to a Canadian street or Montreal street fight
Yeah.
because otherwise this would have flopped so badly, in my opinion. But because they changed it to a specialty where PCO can just fly about, hit as hard as possibly can, use weapons, so
Pretty
that it can
nasty.
go along with his style, and then also showing off AJ Francis has a bit more than what just like he can spit on the mic
Mm.
and trying to wrestle a matchup. I thought this was like really good. I was like, wow. I was impressed. Like a lot lately, I've been impressed with just AJ Francis as a whole. Like I felt like let's be honest, I don't think a lot of people was a big fan of Top Dollar in
Mm.
like NXT, even in like the main roster of WWE. But I
Yeah.
feel like ever since he's got that creative freedom, he's been allowed to take time and like spit on the mic and have like that more rap hip hop culture inside of TNA. He's definitely become more of his own and he's definitely shied away. Like he's not longer in the shadow of just being a guy from Hit Row.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
with PCO, it's just fuck. How does he do most of the things that he does inside this ring? Like, who was this? You're gonna have to remind me again. Is it Josh Bishop? Is that what his name is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
He's a guy from MLW.
oh, okay. So when
Yeah.
he does that razor's edge onto the two chairs, I was like, holy fuck! If he was like, if the chairs were like a little bit close to the steps, he would have hit his head on like the steel steps on the corner, that guy would have been dead like that. He would have been an actual living zombie. Like this shit
Dude.
was crazy. And then like with the tables and AJ Francis nearly putting himself through a table after hitting a knee.
Yeah.
Rhino getting involved, hitting a gore on Rich Swann. Uh, it was chaos, but it was a good chaos, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. Like the bumps that PCO takes, at his age, I'm just every time I'm blown away by this guy. Um, it being a street fight definitely helped them make this a better match than it would have been. So smart on them behind the scenes there. And it was just chaotic. And I did laugh very much when AJ did his, what's it called? Tennessee whiskey or something, which is like a running kick in the corner, and he
Yeah.
flipped over and just that his foot just smacked that table and snapped off the corner of the table. I don't know why, but I just like barked with laughter over it. But yeah, AJ Francis, one thing I'll say about him is like Alicia Edwards. It's like they make themselves 100% dislikable, unlikable. They don't try and be a cool heel. They just want to be, a real legitimate heel. So good on him. And again, this is all some performers need in pro wrestling. They just need a little bit of focus and a little bit of a chance to show what they can do. Some of these rosters, like on AEW and WWE and even NXT, I'll say that those rosters have so many fucking people that a lot of people aren't going to get the opportunity to be given that kind of focus and be given an opportunity. Whereas TNA, the roster's a bit smaller. Somebody like a Mike Santana, somebody like an AJ Francis, somebody like an Ash by Elegance. They come in, and within a few months, we know all there is to know about them. We know their plight. We know who they are. We know where they're headed. And we're interested in them because, again, they're getting that focus. But really cool match here. And then afterward, Steph DeLander. Have a gander at Steph DeLander here. She comes out and proposes to PCO. So I'm looking forward to a future wedding segment. CTP.
What was this ring, Karlifornia? Like, I know like she drops it at some point when doing the marriage proposal, but as soon as you get a close up, what was this an anal plug? Like, what type of ring was this? You might be more knowledgeable of rings than I could be.
Let me have a look. Let's see if I can find a picture. I doubt I can. PCO Steph DeLander ring. It was sticking upward, wasn't it?
It was a lot big for what a ring should be.
Yeah, ridiculous. I have to put a picture of it on the screen as we talk about it. But yeah, interesting. We'll see where this goes.
I can't wait for a wedding. I love wedding angles in pro wrestling. They
I'm
never
just,
go wrong.
No, I've never. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the first snowflake to pipe up and be like, "Oh, don't you think it's a bit weird? Like, it's a bit creepy that it's like they got this like old guy with this young woman. Like, I guarantee you, someone's going to whinge about it. And it's like
Most
it's a
likely.
storyline. It's a storyline. Let's move forward again. TNA Knockouts World Championship. Jordan Grace defending against Ash by Elegance, aka the former Dana Brooke. CTP, once again, take it away.
So going into this matchup, I didn't know what I was going to expect. Like I like Jordan Grace. I like that very much. Sometimes she could be a bit hit or miss depending on the opponents that she has. But Ash by Elegance, I wasn't like the biggest fan of Dana Brooke in WWE. And then ever since showing up in TNA, she's had a couple of matches. I didn't watch them, but I did see that she was like always keeping her eye on or was always around the knockouts world title scene by just like watching and as well as a personal concierge. Is it concierge? Is that what they say?
Concierge.
Concierge is a very fancy word. It's definitely not for a guy like me living in more southern parts of Australia. Yeah. So, but I quite like that guy. He's quite funny. I thought he was definitely a good heat magnet for Ash by Elegance, even though she could probably do it by herself as well. But it's a nice little like add-on for her. But once starting like watching this matchup, and once after like the more like opening jitters that happens like in every type of matchup, this match was really good. Like I was quite shocked of how much I enjoyed this matchup, and just with everything that was happening involved, and then also Rosemary gets involved as well during near the beginning, which I thought would be happening like near the end of the matchup. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is how Jordan wins because of a distraction by Rosemary for Ash by Elegance, etc. But having that near the beginning of the matchup, so then they can just have the two ladies just face each other in a good professional wrestling matchup. I feel like it was a great, smart idea. And yeah, I'm just blown away by this matchup, Karlifornia. Do you have any more notes on this one?
Not a whole lot. You've pretty much covered it there for me as well. I thought that this match exceeded expectations, and I'm not saying that because I thought it was going to be a bad match, but it was just like way better than I thought it was going to be. I feel Jordan Grace has momentum. Her theme song hits, and I feel like the crowd kind of pop a bit more when they hear it. And so I really think this NXT thing and being in the Rumble and all that has helped her in the eyes
Absolutely.
of the fan. Ash by Elegance, don't know where they go with her from here. She's, they've been building for her to go after this title for quite some time. I didn't think she was going to win it, but again, good to see her show what she's capable of, show she can get out there and have a quality match like this. And for anyone out there that didn't think that she really wanted to, make it in the wrestling business, well, clearly after leaving WWE, she went and wrestled elsewhere to keep going. She's not going to give up. She's not going to just retire like a lot of female wrestlers from WWE. Especially ones that are, maybe fitness models beforehand or whatever. A lot of them did, retire in their early 30s and went and did something else. But she's showing that she's got passion for the business. So I think it's great. Anyway, let's move forward to a match that I completely forgot was on the card until the entrances. The X Division Championship on the line here. Mustafa Ali defending against Speedball Mike Bailey. I don't know why I forgot about this match. I just think I thought that Jordan and maybe Ash by Elegance was the second last match, but it happens. Anywho, any thoughts on this one, CTP?
This was my match of the night here, Karlifornia. Oh my days. I am a big, big fan of Speedball Mike Bailey. I love this fucker. I love this karate man. I was absolutely devastated when he had to get deported to Canada and couldn't wrestle for the longest time.
Mm.
And then ever since coming back, he's been on a fucking like he's been on fire. Everywhere he goes, he's having banger matches. He's having great performances left, right, and center. And now with Mustafa Ali also leaving WWE and coming to his own, having like his own, like his ideas coming to fruition, and having this like, I'm for the people, but actually, I'm actually for myself.
Yeah,
is having type of character. It definitely fit well. You can definitely tell who's the heel, who's the face. You got the hometown hero. You're going up against a guy who has Bret Hart gear on with someone who's not Canadian. But then they're going back and forth. I know you're not as much as a big fan of like the high flying, high octane offense, but this is what X Division is all about for me. Like I'm glad if for any type of matchup, it would be for the X Division Championship to have high pace, high octane offense where it could be. And boy, did they fucking deliver. These boys were going everywhere. But the main thing about this matchup was finishing the story that is Earl Hebner with the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I could not believe because we were hearing so much rumors that it's like, oh, apparently it's going to be a surprise at Slammiversary. Oh, maybe it's going to be someone from NXT. Maybe it's going to be
Yeah.
a new signing, but it's Earl Hebner coming into enemy territory that is Montreal, Canada. And as soon as you see that the sharpshooter's locked in from Mustafa, we're like, not this fucking way. Not for Mike Bailey. Come on, bro. And he redeems himself. Earl Hebner finished his story. He rewrite his wrongs from 1997,
Yeah.
and it was a happy day all around in Montreal when Mike Bailey defeats the. He was like undefeated in singles matches, wasn't he? He was like never pinned, never submitted.
Yeah, I don't think he'd lost yet.
Yeah, and then he gets tapped out by a
Mm-hmm.
sharpshooter. It was a glorious moment indeed.
Very good. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not too big on these matches, only because I just feel like I've seen so many of them now. But they were able to make this a little bit more different for me, and I was able to get more invested in this just for the way that they'd put their match together. Um, they did some nuts things here, like the Spanish fly to the outside onto the
Yes.
pile of guys, the poison rana off the top rope. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
The ultimate weapon. He wins the title, but then there was like the rope break that we didn't realize until afterward.
Yeah. I
Then we
thought
get
for sure that Mustafa was gonna win after that. I was like, no,
yeah, me
no,
too.
not like this, bro.
Yeah,
But, oh my gosh.
yeah. I definitely thought he was going to somehow get the win.
Mm-hmm.
We get the ref bump, security get involved. There's two 450 splashes. Trent Sevens ends up being one of the security guards. So like that was a nice little swerve. Dude, okay. I know his name was Raj Singh, and then he became Champagne Singh. The fact that he's called Campaign Singh because he's with Ali, dude,
Yes.
that is
That's
so
baller.
Campaign Sing. Oh, what a pop, dude. Speaking of pops, yeah, El Hebner, that was really cool that they could have him do the right thing in Montreal. He is getting up there in age now, so yeah, great finish. Another title change, though. I think the only person who didn't lose their belt on this show, well, the Knockouts tag titles and Jordan Grace, but every other belt
That is correct.
changed hands. Anyway, let's get to the main event of the evening. The six-way matchup here. Why don't I have everyone's names written down? It's Steve Macklin, Josh Alexander,
Mm-hmm.
Moose,
Yep.
Nick Nemeth,
Correct.
shit, Kazarian, and Joe
Yep.
Hendry. Shit. Got anything to say here on this big time main event, CTP?
Okay, going into this matchup, I thought it was going to be a bit difficult of what the match eliminations were going to be. So like I like to go into this and be like, oh, who is definitely going to be the final two and who's going to be the first elimination. I always thought for sure Steve Macklin was absolutely going to be the first person to be eliminated without a shadow of a doubt, and it turns out he did. But afterwards, I'll be like, okay, I reckon the final two might be Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth. So when I see that Moose gets eliminated second, I could not believe my eyes. I was like, okay, Joe Hendry is gonna be on the fucking run. He's now got a big ball of flames. He's shoved up his ass because he just eliminated the world champion in this matchup.
Yeah.
Fucking Kazarian's dead on the stage after being put through a table. Alexander was like kind of groggy a bit. Nick Nemeth was just flailing all over the place like as he normally does with that luscious blonde hair of his. and then Josh Alexander, the fucking bastard, kicks him in the dick and hits him with a
Yeah.
C4 spike and eliminates him. Oh my days. Oh, I can see why people were so frustrated to not see Joe Hendry because of how much he's getting fired. He's like getting pushed up to the moon because of how popular he is. However, after like learning and like seeing the finish of this one, I'm like, maybe they're not saving it for their second biggest event. Maybe they're saving for their biggest event for Joe Hendry to finally win the world championship. Also with this matchup, Josh Alexander turning heel.
Yeah.
I understand the methods because this man is like, he never lost the belt. He never did. He had to vacate it due to injury.
Yeah.
And then he's been on the hunt ever since. He's been trying to go after Moose. He's trying to go after Shelly. He's tried to go after anyone, like try to get number contenderships. And then he's getting desperate. He wants that championship. He's like, he needs it to try and finish off whatever he can to try and be the best in TNA. And now it's gotten to his head, which I was like, fuck, this is brilliant storytelling right here. And then we get to we get to Nick Nemeth and Josh Alexander. I'm like, oh fuck. Kazarian is nowhere to be here.
Yeah.
He might win this. And I'll be like, okay, Kazarian's like a long time TNA guy. He's never got his moment,
Mm.
other than like an X Division Championship or the TNA World Tag Titles. So like this could be kind of cool. Like he was like the elite hunter for a bit. He was also a MILF hunter at some point. But there was like, okay, I could settle for this. So then Josh Alexander gets eliminated. I was like, okay, that's a bit fair from Nick Nemeth. And then Nick Nemeth wins the belt. I'm like, okay, I think that's a good move, but also I'm a bit confused. Like, why Nick Nemeth, a former WWE guy? Like, I get it, the former WWE guy. Oh, they get signed now. They win a big title around them.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nick Nemeth, since coming to TNA, has actually like started improving a bit more. Like he's gotten like a bit more fire underneath him once again. Like kind of like the Dolph Ziggler of old, like around like the 2011s to 2015 sort of type of era. Like he's actually got some spark in him, like the most wanted man, and then having like the most weirdest entrance music at the beginning of it. It's just like it feels him, and he feels like he's at home in TNA. So I'm like, okay, I actually quite like this. I quite like Nick Nemeth winning the title. So then he can drop it to Joe Hendry at Bound for Glory.
Fair enough. I think going into this, everyone who was in this match had their own personal plight. There was no one who didn't seem like that they didn't belong here, even though I too was like, yeah, Steve Macklin's getting eliminated first here. I was surprised by how Moose was eliminated, but that was a nice change, I think.
Absolutely.
It was action packed from start to finish. Kaz going off the stage through the table. I laughed because I'm like, why was there a table on its own there?
just
Nothing
a
on
random
it.
table near a stage. And the amount of like times where it's like, oh, is he gonna hit the fade to black? Oh, the super kick. Oh no. And then they just kept teasing around this one table. Oh my
Fucking
gosh.
great,
I really
bro.
wanted the fade to black through the table, but I knew that would have shattered his poor knees. So
Yeah.
at least he took a back bomb through it, I guess.
I was glad he did not do that move through it because I think that would have been disaster for his kneecaps. But yeah, I just the table had nothing on it and it was just happened to be there. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
So yes, like okay, that's the big moment that happened here, right? Joe Hendry pinned Moose, and then he copped the low blow and the C4 spike. And to any fan out there, good things come to those that wait. You don't need to get your dopamine hit every single time you want your dopamine hit. It's okay to wait for it. It's okay for, I said it with Cody. I said he's going to win it the following year. Just fucking relax. Just relax. It will happen. Don't take it so seriously. I mean, I used to watch Melrose Place, the 90s version of Melrose Place, and the heels would go over the whole season. And the season's like 32 episodes. And then finally you'll get that comeuppance for the babyface on the TV show. That's kind of how wrestling works too. It should be heat, 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 heat until we finally get that moment. And then it means more. I thought Kaz was going to win. I'm not sure why. I just had a feeling, but probably time for Josh to turn heel. Probably time for Joe Hendry and Josh Alexander to have that program together. By the end of that feud, I would imagine now Joe Hendry's got himself in a position to re-challenge for the world championship.
Absolutely. I feel like with this matchup, I feel like there's a lot more stories coming out of it than there was coming in of it. So with now, like you have now you have a new feud with Josh Alexander and Joe Hendry. We have Steve Macklin now so like devastatingly, like he gets eliminated first up and it's like quite early on in the matchup. So like where does he go from here? Does he go down to the X division? Does he get a new tag team, like a tag team? Nick Nemeth now is a new world champion inside the company. Where does Moose go from here? Does he try to go back for the world championship? Is he going to try and do something with the system? What is going to happen to the system now that they've only got one championship inside the whole entire team, and which is with fucking Alicia Edwards of all people? And then you've also got Kazarian, where like I was like, okay, I was quite impressed with Kazarian's performance in this one. Like he's definitely that main event level type of talent, but he also was the only one in this matchup that didn't win via pinfall submission to get into the matchup. He had to win by count out against Mike Santana. So
Right.
there could be something going on there too. And then also with Mike Santana, is like, and Jake something, they've both been trying to go for something here. And then Matt Hardy's coming up through that. There's just so much going on in TNA. I feel like they've got a lot to do, and I feel like they have the right amount of people to do it with.
You still got Jeff Hardy waiting in the wings, and then whatever's going to happen with NXT. So it's like pretty, I think it's an exciting time for TNA. And that was Slammiversary, the 21st anniversary. ZTP, it's been great having you on the show, but we need to find out some final thoughts and your rating out of 10.
Rating. Ooh. Final thoughts. So it was a bit of a rocky start at the beginning of TNA Slammiversary, between especially the opener and then some of the with the audio and the video errors that was happening throughout most of the show. But then once they found their footing, I quite enjoyed the last 4 matches. I felt like it was a banger. It slapped. It just hit the mark every time. With just 4 consecutively excellent matches that just happened, and with also like some underrated ones inside there. So I would give Slammiversary a solid 8 out of 10. I reckon.
Very nice. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think like you know 7 out of 10's like it was a good show. 7.5, okay, that was above average show. Then when it gets to 8, it's like, oh, that was a fantastic show, etc. I don't have a fine science behind my rating system out of 10, but yeah, look, I think this is probably the most enjoyable TNA pay-per-view I've watched in the last few months, at least this year. I feel like you're right. The last half of the show was a lot better than the first half. And the first half wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
they just really upped the ante once we got to that PCO AJ Francis matchup.
I can't believe we're saying that right now.
Isn't that insane? A guy in his 50s and top dollar. They were the ones that really.
Holler.
Yeah, that's right, bro. So anyway, ZTP, I want to thank you so much for your time here and being on this review show here of TNA Slammiversary.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a blast having here. I was quite nervous going into this, but I got the jitters out the way. But it was quite good. I quite enjoyed this.
Yeah, that's great, bro. And we'll hopefully see you on more TNA reviews in the future.
Let us hope so.
Excellent. And thank all of you out there for joining us here for the TNA Slammiversary review here on Slam Reviews on the Slam Society. I'm Karlifornia. This is CTP, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
See ya.